Guys, this is Lord Chael speaking on behalf of our show sponsor, Established Titles. Established Titles is a project based on a historic Scottish custom where landowners are referred to as lords and ladies. They allow you to buy as little as 1 square foot of dedicated land so you can officially call yourself a lord or a lady. Established Titles is not just about your ego, you also get to do some good. In addition to your new fancy title, Established Titles supports global charities, like One Tree Planted and Trees for the Future, to help with their afforestation efforts. Your title pack gives you at least 1 square foot of dedicated land on a private estate in Scotland. And your official certificate proves your title, as well as your unique plot number, where you can see the exact location of your land. Getting the certificate even allows you to officially change your name to Lord or Lady. Put it on your credit cards, your plane tickets, or even your dating profiles. Established Titles is currently having an extended New Year sale just for you guys. And on top of that, you can get an additional 10% off any purchase you make with discount code CHAEL. So click on the link below or go to establishedtitles.com/Chael. Use the promo code CHAEL to save an extra 10% today. Guys, looking back, right, what's that old expression? Hindsight is 20/20. So let me ask you a question now that we have hindsight. Was making the interim championship bout between Derek Lewis and Ciryl Gane the right thing to do? And you're only looking at it from this perspective. Did we need an interim champion when we have the undisputed champion in Francis? That's what the question was. And you guys might remember, but there's no rules on the interim title. I mean, it used to be that way back when I was a kid and Jack Tunney was the commissioner. If you sat out for any reason for 12 months, you were going to be stripped. And in the world of boxing, if you sat out for any reason, and generally it's because in boxing they were just closet champions that didn't want to fight, but whatever the reason was, we're not going to use heart, we're not going to use kindness, we don't care if you were sick or hurt. If there's any reason that 365 days go by, you're eligible to be stripped. Jack Tunney would strip you, it was done. In boxing, you were eligible to be stripped, and we followed something very close like that in MMA for a while. Nobody had ever said it. It's just the way that it worked out kind of was in line with that 12-month business. And I do remember a narrative and a belief, even amongst the pundits, that you are safe until you come up on 1 year. Now, that was never officially a rule, but it was something that we kind of adapted, at least within our minds. And I only bring that to you because the Ciryl fight versus Derek Lewis was nowhere near a year for Francis. Did we need an interim champion? Should this be title versus title? And I say yes, but I love the interim belt. I love it, and I notice my voice is alone. I don't have a lot of people that like it. I see it as opportunity. And you want to know who really hates the interim belt, and they always have, is whoever the undisputed champion is. I mean, we're seeing Peter Yan and Aljo Sterling going at it right now just because of somebody else's accolades. I never understood why, if you looked in the smart girl's paper during a test and copied off her, why she was mad. If she's getting an A, what does she care if you also get a better grade? I didn't understand that mindset. But then again, I wasn't the one being copied off of. So there's another side to it. And I bring this to you because Francis is saying this is not interim versus undisputed. We are fighting for one belt. It is my belt. His belt is not on the line. It can't be interim versus undisputed if only my belt goes up. So the fact that my belt goes up and not his means his belt is not a real belt. That is not a bad argument. When I heard Francis say that, he makes a fair point. If that belt actually means something, defend the goddamn thing. If it's not eligible to be defended, it's not a real belt. Interesting point. It's against where I want to stand. I love the interim belt. I love telling people the story of Colby Covington, that Colby Covington was the interim champion, never got beaten, one day was no longer the interim champion. Like, I just like the riddle of it. I like to confuse people. I love that George Masvidal has an opportunity that looks like it's not going to have any lineage. I want that to change. I do not want that conversation to close. I want Masvidal to put that belt up, and whoever grabs it from there, I want it to be passed on. I think that there's other opportunities out there instead of just being the champion of the world. I'm a sports fan. I love the Olympics. But I can't only let the Olympic medal be the only thing that matters. What do you do the rest of the time? There should be some kind of a something going on every Saturday. It could be the league championship, the city championship, the state tournament, the qualifier for this. There's got to be something. So I just like the opportunity, and that's where I like the interim belt. But I do listen to Francis's point. This is not champion versus champion. If it was, his belt has to go up, and his belt's not going up. That's a strong case to beat. I've never looked at it that way. It's a very strong case to beat. If your belt is real, are you guys hearing me? I'm going to repeat it a third time, but if your belt is real, if that thing matters and you fight, put the goddamn thing up. But you're not. So by default, to that premise, that must not be real. Wow. Okay. I'm not going to concede, but I need more time to think to be able to rebuke that statement. Now, I do not think it was too early because, guys, it's never shared with us. There's many things that we think that we know, and there's many things that we guess. And sometimes we guess them right, but that was just surely out of luck. And a lot of times we guess and we're wrong. We cannot fully say why the undisputed title was not put up, but the story went something like this. Francis was to defend against Derek Lewis in Houston. Each one of those pieces was very well thought out, and for the story to come together, each one of those pieces needed to come together in that order. Houston mattered because it was Derek. Top of the bill, that's his hometown. Championship matters because Francis has the damn thing, and Derek versus Francis owe us all a fight. Can we agree on that? They promised to fight, they haven't fought yet. Can we agree on that? Whatever that thing they did for 15 minutes, they owe us a fight. Okay, great. I get it. No problem. Date didn't work for Francis. Now, according to Team Francis, and again, I'm close here, guys, but there is some guessing. I'm close here. I'm telling the story the way that the story was told by somebody else, so I have hearsay at best, but I know I'm close. Francis had no problem with Derek Lewis. Francis had no problem putting the belt up. Francis didn't have a problem with Houston. He had a problem with the date. He agreed to the fight, and you can do this thing wherever you want. You can bring Derek or you can bring somebody else. I can't fight him on that date. And he only needed, if I remember this right, he only needed a month. I want to say this fight went down in August, and Francis said, man, I'm your huckleberry, but you got to give me till September. And it had something to do with travel restrictions that were beyond Francis's control. Francis got on a plane. He went to France. He couldn't return. Vice versa, something along these lines. Possibly it was a visa issue. Possibly the pandemic came into place. But whatever it was, Francis saw it outside of his control. Wouldn't be prepared. We'll do everything that you want, but he can't do it then. And that didn't work for the other side. So that fight didn't happen. But when you end up in a position like that, when you are the other side, you can either learn from the lessons of today and pay attention to what happened today, knowing history tends to repeat itself, or you can try to wait a month. They said to hell with it. If we're being told no right now, what's to stop us being told no then? And we need a heavyweight champion. Got number 2 and number 3. We'll call it the interim. We won't strip the guy, but we're going to have a heavyweight champion. So this is the way that it worked. This is the way that it went down. I got it. There is something very special to me. I can't beat Francis's point yet. I'm going to have to think on that. If I can find a rebuke to it, I'll bring it to you guys. But for right now, Francis has me with my pants down. I got to tell you, him making the claim that your belt doesn't matter because you're not defending it, which proves it doesn't, that's strong. But I love a poster that's got 2 belts. I love that back in the boxing day. I don't know who any of those guys were. You guys don't know, none of us know who these boxers are. But I know what a poster is, and if that guy's got a belt and that guy got a belt and somebody's has got to go, like that story's never going to stop working to some degree. So when I see somebody who looks like he's carved out of stone like Francis Ngannou and he's got a strap and a big beautiful record, and I see another guy, Ciryl, who's a little bit smaller, but he got carved out of that same stone, he's got a big beautiful record, they both got belts on, man, you've got my attention. You got my attention. And I would think that every champion would understand whatever it takes to have the story bigger. I don't like this guy. I got a big problem with this guy. And a few others. That's why I went into this business in the first place. But on the night that we compete, we are partners. So tell his story as well as you can to as many people as you can. Because I want to steal all of those fans by the time they fade to black and roll the credits. And the same thing goes for the challenger to the champion, the A side to the B side, the red corner to the blue corner, but not everybody understands this concept. Many people do not understand the concept, and they want to take away from the other guy. They want to be the one that gets the A on the test, and they're going to be mad if you get a better grade on the test instead of just worrying about themselves. And I don't know which side the popular majority's on. I know I'm alone, or at least I'm in the minority with loving of the interim championship. I love opportunity. At one point, they talked about a 165-pound belt. I'm in. Don't really care what the weight class is. More opportunity. Let's do it. But not everybody agrees with me. So I'm just asking you guys. I want to see the comments, and we are going to talk about that if and only if I can think of a rebuke to Francis's statement, which is pretty goddamn hard right now. We're going to come back and we're going to talk. But when I do that, I want to see in the comments, in hindsight, was doing the interim championship appropriate?